Hello and welcome to Student Sizzles. I'm Sam
And I'm Emily.
and we're teaching students how to cook budget and healthy meals. So today I'm going to be teaching Emily how to cook a chicken and bacon carbonara. So today I am teaching Emily how to cook carbonara. So the first step for carbonara is to use some chicken, and there's quite a few fillets in this pack. We're not going to use all of them because that would be making way too much more than what we needed to. So I'm just going to place 4 onto the board. And what I'm going to do is just chop 2 into slices, and then I'm going to ask Emily to chop the other 2 as well, just so she knows what sort of size we're going for. So I only cut them into small pieces so that it also makes it easier for when you fry them. It's a lot quicker.
Cool.
Because if the slices are bigger, I always find that it takes longer when they fry. So if you want to make something really quick, it does help to cut them into smaller pieces. It's also important to use a really sharp knife. So this is a proper knife for cutting. If you use like an ordinary cutlery knife, then it wouldn't do as much. Right, so as you can see, these are all quite small pieces. So what I'm going to do is flip this round. If you can just cut them into the same size.
Ooh.
So you can see Emily's done them exactly the same size, so they're all exactly the same. So these bacon lardons are already pre-cut. So if you're a student and you're obviously not used to cooking, these are really helpful because they're obviously pre-cut, so you don't have to worry about that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put oil into a frying pan, and then the chicken goes in first because it takes longer to fry. So I put that in first, and then about 5 minutes after it started to cook, I then add in the bacon. You need to put the pasta on at the same time as the chicken because the pasta takes a lot longer to cook. Yeah. So what I use for that is I use this pan, and it's really thick in terms of the width of it. So the inside
Deep as well.
is deep. And you put that in there, and then you put the water above the pasta. So don't put it under the pasta because you need it to sort of hover above. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get onto that now. Okay, so what I've done is I've already put the pasta into the pan, and as you can see, when I said about the water is just above the pasta.
How do you know if the pasta's done? Will it have like a
What I normally do is when it starts bubbling, I tend to give it like a little mix and make sure it's not stuck to the sides, and I'll take a piece of the pasta out and I'll cut it with a fork, and then if it cuts in half, I know that it's done. Okay. But if it's slightly underdone, it won't cut as easily. It's quite firm.
Okay.
So that's how I normally know. Okay, so now that the pasta has been in the pan for a little bit, I'm now going to put the chicken into the saucepan. I've already preheated it and it's got oil in it, so when I put it in, it should just start
What kind of
sizzling.
oil are you using?
I am using olive oil.
Oh, cool.
I think people use different oils, but I just personally use olive oil. I think I've learned from my mum because she uses olive oil for everything that she makes. I personally make sure all of it is like separated.
Yeah.
If you separate it, it's just easier to manage. So when it's all stuck together, it's not as easy to like get off.
Yeah. I suppose it cooks more evenly as well.
It does, yeah, and that's another reason why earlier I put it into smaller pieces, because it's just easier for it to cook. As you can see, it's already starting to go quite white.
Yeah, I can see that.
Quite quickly. Okay, so now that the chicken is nearly done, you can see it's slightly pink, but it's getting there now, and the majority of it is white. I'm going to be adding the bacon into it. I'm just going to use the whole packet. So I always put this in towards the end because it doesn't take as long to cook, whereas the chicken does.
What kind of bacon do you use? Is it smoked or?
I personally use smoked only because I'm not a fan of just ordinary bacon. I feel like smoked makes it taste better.
Okay.
Has more of like a flavour, especially in carbonara. I think it adds to it.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna mix all of this together now until obviously the bacon is cooked as well. And adding the bacon in helps like the chicken to cook that just like that last little bit as well.
Yeah.
Obviously it's nearly done. So this I just stir around for a few minutes, and then I tend to just leave it simmer for a little bit before I start adding cream.
Okay, cool. That's Smells like my mum's kitchen, yeah?
It does smell really good to do that. Did you want to give it like a little mix just to have a go?
Yeah, sure.
So just make sure that you're constantly mixing it around evenly. So what I've done just off camera is I've put the pasta into the saucepan with the chicken and the bacon. So once this is done, I use double cream and I pour this over the top. I normally use a whole pot actually because it does really help with flavour and everything. I will also leave it simmer towards the end as well. So this is the double cream. So I'm just gonna, you can use any double cream, all does the same thing. So I'm just gonna pour this in all around on top, and then what I'll do is once this is all in, I'll just stir it and mix it around. Right, I'll pass this over to you.
Thank you very much.
It's just making sure that everything's basically covered, and then once it's covered you can just leave it for a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some herbs in, and then when I've sprinkled the herbs in, I mix it in and then I'll just leave it to simmer for a few minutes. I normally leave it to simmer for about 2 minutes. I do quite a few because even though it looks like a lot, when you blend it in, it isn't actually. And this is one of the most simple things that you can make, even though it looks just like loads of food shoved into a pan.
Yeah, it does look quite simple to be honest. Like seeing you cook it, it's not as scary anymore.
So what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to leave it for about 2 minutes, just to simmer, so that basically everything soaks in. And then once that is done, I'll then serve it up and then you can try it.
Perfect, thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
So, this is the finished product. This is carbonara, chicken and bacon. Turned out alright to be fair. I'm literally going to put just a little bit on the plate so you can have a little taste of it.
Thank you. That's right, we're not all about presentation here. We're all students, we're all learning the tricks of the trade.
Do you know what? If it was about presentation, then I'd probably have to do it again. I'll let you taste it first.
A bit of pasta, chicken, and
if I let you taste it first, I'll have more of a accurate opinion.
Yeah, you know if I die or not.
There we go, that's right then, isn't it? My work's done.
Really good.
My work's done. I'm going to have a little taste actually, just because I don't want to.
I'm going to have a bit more, I think.
We started off with I'll have a little bit, and then she's going to eat the whole pan.
Yeah, I think I won't.
And no, thank you. How do you think overall it went? Do you think you would be able to make it yourself?
I actually think I could, because with frying, like, it's more like just, you know, you just have to keep an eye on it and see if it's, you know, like cooked in the middle and all that. And like, you know, it seems quite easy to do. In pasta, you know, like you say, you just chop it in half and you can see and all that, and it just looks quite good. It's quite simple.
It is simple, and also just to add into this at the end, everything was very cheap.
Yes.
I would recommend going to Iceland because Iceland is very cheap. The bacon was £1, I think the chicken was £2, the pasta was £1, the cream was £1. So you basically have everything for under £3 per item. So if you wanted to make something like this, you do get quite a lot for your money.
Exactly. I mean, look how much there is. You know, you can easily, you know, feed you and your significant other, or you know, some of your housemates, whatever.
Yeah.
They'll all be happy with it.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all we've got time for today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, send them in. It'd be lovely. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Kat. I don't know why you're laughing.
See? I'm sorry, the sound is nightmarish. I'm so sorry.
Just cut and start again.
What, the sound of the...
Yeah, no shit.
That's good, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Wait, we used to do work on induction, right?
Look at my double chins. You know what, you could chop up my chin and put it in there. I would like that very much.